Hello everyone, this is Josh One. We're back here with gonna go over the restoration spec. A little bit of an overview, preview for it. Go look at the talents and stuff, and just give you my thoughts on it. First, I thought we would take a look at just the passives that we have in our spell book for restoration. We have the Astral Influence, which increases the range of all your abilities by 5 yards. Mastery, which is Harmony, your healing increased by 14% for each of your restoration heal over time effects on the target. Omen of Clarity, your healing over time from Life Wound has a 4% chance to cause a clear casting state, making your next 3 Regos cost no mana. That's due to one of the talents I picked, which I'll show you in a minute. Ysera's Gift heals you for 3% of your maximum health every 5 seconds. If you are at full health, an injured party or raid member will be healed instead. Okay, and let's switch over to our talents. On the 15th row, we have Abundance. For each rejuvenation you have active, Rego's cost reduced by 6% and the critical effect chance is increased by 6%. You have Prosperity, which Swissman now has 2 charges and its cooldown is reduced by 3 seconds. And of course you have Cenarian Ward, which does basically what it does on live with this, if I remember correctly. It's been a while since I've played Resto. I'm currently playing with this just because having the cost reduced by 6% and the critical chance increased by 6% is, I find, pretty nice. On the 30 row, you have Tiger Dash. It replaces Dash and activates Cat Form, increases your movement speed by 200%, reducing gradually over 4 seconds on a 45-second cooldown. Renewal, which does, I believe, more or less what it does on live right now. It heals you for 30% of your maximum health and it is unusable in all shift forms. It has a 1.5 second cooldown. You have Wild Charge, which has a 15-second cooldown, and it does, right now, it does exactly the same thing that it does on live if you've played a Druid at all, which fly to an ally's position for non-shapeshift forms and barefoot, and you charge at the enemy, immobilize them for 4 seconds. Cat form, you leap behind the enemy, daisy them for 3 seconds. Moonkin form, you bounce backwards, and travel form, you leap forward 20 yards. Aquatic form increases your swim speed by additional 150% for 5 seconds. In the 45 talent, I don't believe this has changed. None of these have really changed either. You have the Balance Affinity. I'm currently using this one just because it seems, of the 3, it seems the best flowing for just killing mobs and stuff in Resto, to give you a little bit more punch. You increase the range of all your abilities by 5 yards. You also get Moonkin Form, Star Surge, and Lunar Strike. Feral Affinity increases your movement speed by 15%. You also learn Rake, Rip, Ferocious Bite, and Swipe. And your energy regeneration is increased by 35%. Guardian Affinity, reduces all damage you take by 6%, and you also learn Thrash, Iron Fur, and Frenzied Regeneration. I've tried all 3 of these out, and Balance seems, like I said, seems to be the best ones that I've come across with leveling so far. May just be my playstyle, but that's my thought. There you have it. Level 60, Mighty Bash does the same thing it does on live. It stuns your target for 5 seconds. You have Mass Entombment, which roots the target and all enemies within 15 yards. In place for 30 seconds. Same thing it does on live. And same thing here. Strike for Typhoon. It strikes target with 20 yards in front of you with a violent Typhoon, knocking them back and dazing them for 6 seconds. And it is usable in all shapeshift forms. In the 75 talent row, we have Soul of the Forest. When you cast Swiftman, you gain Soul of the Forest, increasing the healing your next regrowth or rejuvenation by 200%, or increasing the healing of your next wild growth by 75%. We have Cultivation, which makes your rejuvenation heal target. When you heal a target below 60% health with rejuvenation, it applies cultivation to the target, which heals him for a little over 300 more over 6 seconds. You have Incarnation Tree of Life, which does pretty much the same thing it does on live. Increasing healing done by 15%, increases your armor by 120%, and it grants protection from polymorph effects. And of course, the functionality of various healing effects is in enhance. It lasts 30 seconds, and you can of course shapeshift in and out as you at will. Excuse me. 90 row we have Inner Peace, which reduces the cooldown of Tranquility by 60 seconds. This is actually not too bad since it's on Tranquility is on a 3-minute cooldown. I imagine this is going to be pretty useful in raids. I'm running the Stonebark Talent just because it reduces the cooldown of Ironbark by 30% and increases its healing. Increases healing from your heal over time effects by 20%. So it only does it by 30 seconds since it's a 1 minute, so it's a 30-second cooldown basically with this. Or I'm sorry, it's a 1 minute and 1.5 minute without this. With this, it's down to a 1 minute cooldown, which is really nice. And it, like I said, it increases the heal from your heal over time effects. So you hit this, you pop stuff. It's just a little boost to your healing. I actually like it quite a bit. Also, I'll be going over Ironbark in just a moment when I'm done with the talents. We have Spring Blossoms, and the last, each target healed by Evanescence is healed for an additional 192 over 6 seconds. I found this is okay, but I think for leveling, just killing mobs and doing quests and stuff, I think this is probably going to be the best. I think this will be nice for dungeons. For dungeons, maybe raids, depending on how it stacks up once you get higher level and stuff. Inner Peace, I think, will be quite nice for raids, or just kind of in maybe Mythic Plus and stuff when you need the extra. You may need the extra healing quicker. In the 100 row, we have Moment of Clarity, which your Omen of Clarity now affects the first 3 regrowths and increase their healing by 50%. I have tried all of these out, and while I think Flourish is probably the best out of the 3, I think this works a little bit better for when you're self healing and stuff, and just going through and doing quests and leveling and stuff. I think Moment of Clarity will definitely be much better off with that, without Germination or Flourish. But then we have Germination, which you can apply Rejuvenation twice to the same target. And then we have Flourish, which is on a 1.5 minute cooldown and extends the duration of all your heal over time effects on your friendly targets within 60 yards by 8 seconds, and increases the rate of your heal over time effects by 100% for 8 seconds. Like I said, this is a really nice cooldown. I just think this will probably be I think this is a little bit better for leveling, in my particular opinion. Okay, now we have one of the new things we have is Ironbark. Targets the skin becomes as tough as iron wood, reducing all damage taken by 20% for 12 seconds, and it increases your healing from your heal over time effects by 20% also. That, with that up there, with the 20% and stuff, this makes this really nice. Also with the reducement and cooldown, I think this makes this a really good decent defensive cooldown, and also a good cooldown for leveling. I think it makes Ironbark a nice little cooldown. I believe that's all for the talents and the spells. I don't think I haven't seen anything that's overly new. I'll just give you it's gonna heal myself, and I'll just give you a quick look at some of the stuff that it's doing, so you can see all the So you get some really pretty good decent healing. And if we just pop this, then we get some heal over time on us. See, gets even better. Trib Lice works just like it did before. So we get some good heals off and stuff with it. So that's pretty much for that. I'll show you. There were some bad guys down here. I think I'm gonna go and try and find some bad guys here, and I'll show you a little bit of the combat just so you can see what the damage and stuff is. Let me get some mana back here. Now, of course, you just have in regular form you just have Solar Wrath and Sunfire to really do damage with, but in Moonkin form, of course, it gives you Star Surge and Lunar Strike and Moonfire. So just dot these guys up. Of course, you get your Lunar and Solar Empowerment by it, which makes damage more. I know I'm probably doing this in the wrong order. I'm just going through and just trying to kill it and stuff. So you can also use Regrowth in Moonkin form, so that's always nice. And there you go. Now, it does take a little bit longer, of course, because you don't have all the other talents and stuff that Moonkins have if you actually are Spec into Moonkin, but it does kill things. I found kills most things actually quite nicely. May take a little bit longer, but it does kill things quite nicely. You do have the little bit reduced damage and stuff from it if you're in the form than without. So overall, I think Restoration is actually, from what I've seen so far, in a pretty good place, at least for leveling wise. I think it should be a lot of fun to level with, especially since you can just run around as a boomkin and dot things up and kill them. Lunar Strike also, not sure if it does this in live or not because I don't usually play a boomkin, but it does damage to the target and also does lower 500 damage to all enemies within 5 yards. So it does about half the damage to all the enemies in 5 yards, which is actually pretty decent. I wouldn't, with the way things are, at least on Alpha right now, I wouldn't be pulling a whole lot of things in Resto with this, but because you don't have Starfall and all that. But with this you can pull probably 2 or 3. I got so let me see if I can find a few more regular size mobs. See if I can find like 3 of them. Cause there was some down here. I had like 3 of them earlier that I was able to kill and keep myself up. Yes, I know. Hold on. Here we go. Yeah, there they are. No, those are decent. Not really decent size, but okay, that one is. So let's conform and we'll. There we go, and then we can just Star Surge that, and we'll just. And you can just see it doing. Oh, I guess I heal myself up a little bit. It's actually quite nice to be able to do that. Yeah. Since I haven't used Resto, I haven't really played the Druid much. And I definitely haven't done Resto because I'm definitely not a healer. But there's actually a lot of fun. I'm finding it kind of just nice to be able to just dot things and And kill things decently as a healer. I don't. Cause I know some healers have problems, but with the Boomkin Affinity, I think it does. I think Restore does a really good job at healing. At DPSing mobs, at least for leveling, I think it will do really nice. Okay, I hope you guys. That's really all I need to say. Oh, wait a minute. There's one more thing today. In an update, they have updated and given us our first look at the Heart of Azeroth, the Azerite powers and stuff. So I want to give you guys just a look at that real quick. Shift click. There we go. This is just a temporary UI interface, and these are the first sets here. Up here, of course, we have the Champion Azeroth. Contributing to the death of an enemy of Azeroth heals you for a little over 700 and grants you 26 versatility for 1 minute and stacks twice, which isn't bad. That's just what I'm using, like, since I'm out running around and stuff by myself. I have not tried all these out. This is the first one I have tried out, because I'm not sure how you change it. I may have to make a new character to do that. But you have Streaking Stars. While Celestial Alignment is active, your spells call a Streaking Star, dealing an additional 291 damage when they are not a repeat of the previous ability. Okay, I'm not really sure on that wording. Primordial Rage. While Berserk is active, your Rip deals an additional, it looks like 1857 damage each time it deals damage. Or maybe that's only supposed to be 857. Yeah, the text is a little messed up there. Then we have Heartblood, which makes Mangle increases the healing of your next ability by 200. Next healing ability by 291. And you have Fungal Essence, which Swissman causes your Everescence to mushroom to burst, healing a nearby injured ally for 291. I imagine this will definitely, if this scales nicely, I imagine this will be pretty decent in group settings. Down here, it says at 4. I'm guessing that's level. This is temporary, so I'm not sure how all that's going to work. But you have Winds of War, which taking damage grants you 17 dodge for 3 seconds, stacking up to 10 times. You have Woundbinder, which your healing effects have a chance to increase your haste by 78 for 6 seconds. Healing lower health targets will grant you more haste. Haste by up to 78. So you won't get it. You may not get 78 every time, it looks like. So if you're healing the lower health targets, you end up maybe getting closer to that 78. Okay, then we have Eternal Whirl, which your damage abilities have a chance to grant you Elemental Whirl, increasing your critical strike, haste, mastery, or versatility by 97 for 10 seconds. Now I'm guessing because the Heart of Azeroth is only at level 1, I'm guessing that's what this is at level 4. But I'm guessing as this levels up, of course, this stuff and you level up, I imagine it will do more damage or more healing, things of that nature. At 7, we have Resounding Protection. Every 30 seconds, gain a Zerpton Shield for 262 for 30 seconds. That kind of is like what one of the legendaries did and does in Legion, so that's interesting. Then you have Vampiric Speed. When an enemy you damaged dies, you heal for 786 and gain 60 speed for 6 seconds. I'm not sure if that's 60% speed boost or... And at level 10 you have, right now, it's Azerite Empowerment, which increases the item level of this item by 5. So I don't know how that's going to work. Imagine that's probably just a placeholder. I'm sure some of this stuff will probably be moved around and stuff, since this is still early alpha and this is the first sorry, it's late, and first interpretation of the interface and the abilities for it. But I did just want to let y'all, since that they did put that in there today, I did want everybody to see it. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please leave a like. Make sure you subscribe and hit the little bell so you don't miss any of my videos. Thank you all very much and have a wonderful day. And as always, I will see you next time.